Welcome to the InStory Show. I'm Devorah Spilman, your host, and our theme is how do you come out of hiding and dare to be seen for who you really are by saying yes to your soul and telling your story. And today I'm thrilled to have Antje Howard. Hi, Antje.
Hi, Deborah. It's nice to be here.
So before we dive in, I'm just going to read a little bit more about you, and then we'll dive into your story. Antje Howard is an artist, creative guide, author, and teacher. Her goal is to support self-discovery and healing in creative ways. In her art classes, workshops, and coaching sessions, Antje empowers people to reconnect to their innate creative wisdom. She discovered the power of art on her own healing journey and is passionate about convincing the world that everyone can be an artist of life. Antje works with a mix of creative methods, including neurographica, a transformative and meditative drawing method. Through her guidance, she enables clients to tap into their subconscious, where they can discover and change negative belief patterns and release inner blockages. So, like I like to ask everybody, just tell us a little bit about what does saying yes to your soul mean to you?
Mhm. The big question. Well, I'm glad that we talked about this before, because now I know. Um, for me, saying yes to my soul is saying yes to my story, saying yes to my life experience, saying yes to the things that I did come with and the things that happened to me, and understanding that in a way, they are all for me. They all happen for me, even if it doesn't feel like it. Um, and that for me was a big kind of aha when I think kind of I started seeing my life like that, where I step out of being a victim and into being a creator, no matter what. Like even within the hardest situations, we can still create. We still have the power to react to the things that happen around us or to us. So yeah, for me, I think that is like kind of taking charge in a way, but also accepting that, yeah, things do happen for a reason. And I say that like this, because that's of course like it was a long journey for me to even get there to where I can see it like that. But yeah, I'm going to tell you all about the journey in a minute.
So, what I love so much is I really never said this line, which is that you said saying yes to my soul is saying yes to my story. Like, what? First, that's a beautiful way to say it, and it is such a deep truth. And some people, they have such a significant story that's happened to them that saying yes to that really is a way of saying yes to your soul. So it's very beautiful, and how you've integrated that with art is amazing. So, all right, I love, as always, I love people to tell that story that I call like the story of how you got from there to here. So tell us a little bit about both your soul journey, your artist journey, and your current the story you're going to come up against.
Yeah. Okay. So my artist journey started when I was a little kid, like all artist stories start, I believe, because when we are kids, we are all artists. I think there's like a quote by Picasso who said that everybody is an artist when they're children. The trick is just to stay an artist. And for me, that's definitely what happened. Like I lost being an artist because I was told that I was not an artist, and that. I at some point pinpointed it back to my school experience, where of course we had teachers who sorted out and said, oh yeah, this is good and this is not so good. And then of course we had this whole idea, or I had this whole idea and mindset that artists have to go a special way. Like there's only one way of becoming an artist, or was in my mind. Oh, and that would be art school, the proper education, proper pathway, and then you could become an artist. And in a way, it's like the allowing the outside world to define you. And that's like interesting for me to now see it like that, because I carried a belief inside of me for all my adult life that I could not be an artist. And I shattered belief at some point whenever I started making art. Ta-da! It took me a long while though. So I yeah, did all kinds of other things. I was like often or always kind of in the vicinity of artists, and I actually worked with artists and lectured for future teachers at some point. But then I changed everything, and I think that was like the first step. Like for me, that was like the first step of kind of getting back to myself, was to quit my job, travel all across the world. And I'm originally from Germany and I live in California now. I met my husband here. So 10 years ago, I changed everything and I had to reinvent myself because coming to a new place, starting all over again, you kind of have to start yourself all over again too. No, I had to kind of see, okay, what am I actually capable of? What can I do? What do I want to do? So there was like so much possibility, and always sometimes like really cliche, I came to America and I've really experienced this openness, this freedom of like I can reinvent myself. I can be anyone here if I want to. I can like learn all kinds of new stuff. And so what happened for me was that I tapped back into my creativity. I started creating, and in the beginning was really like kind of not planful. Like I didn't plan to be an artist or something. I just created, I just kind of explored. And then at some point, I discovered the art method that I'm working with now. That was in 2019. I saw a picture online and I was just mesmerized and captivated, and I just had to learn all about it. Um, and the method that I'm working with is called neurographica. And interestingly, I want to share just a tiny little bit about it. It was created by a Russian psychology professor. His name is Pavel Piskaryov, just to mention the name of the creator. And he created a step-by-step process that is very structured. I almost like want to call it hyper-structured. So it always starts with we think about what we want to create, and that is always something in our life. So basically the method is based on wanting to change something, or like for me also it became to adapting to change. So it is first of all always like it starts with an idea, and the idea is not what should the picture look like, or what do I want to create. The idea is what do I want to kind of change inside myself, what kind of part of my experience do I want to change. And then I start creating with that, and then I go through a step-by-step process that is, as I said, very, very structured. We work with like lines and colors, and it's all like kind of being harmonized and being connected. And the outcome, the pictures often resemble kind of like brain cells. Like, so the pictures really look like neurons. And that's kind of part of the process, is that we connect to it in like this very subtle way. And what this allows us to do is, first of all, to quiet down the monkey mind so that we can listen to the layers inside of us. And while we draw, we also observe ourselves. So when I draw, I listen to my mind and I see what kind of stories come up, and I listen to my heart and I see what kind of emotions are attached to that, and I listen to my body and I see, sometimes I draw something and I feel like, oh, I have like this weird tension come up, and then I'm like, oh, why do I have this tension come up? So it's this conversation with the art almost, where we create, but at the same time we create change inside of us. So that is like the whole idea. So in my very, very first drawing that I did with a teacher, I realized, and I literally had this vision of my high school art teacher, and I realized that my idea that I could not be an artist was actually something that I took on from someone else. It was not, hasn't had nothing to do with me. It was like something that I took on from the world around me, and particularly from this art teacher. And I realized I don't have to do that. It's not my story. It's not actually part of my story. It doesn't have to be my story. I can rewrite this. I can be someone else. I can free this. And it was literally this kind of mind-blowing opening experience for me that led me to want to work with this method. So for me, it was literally the first drawing, and I was hooked. I was like, okay, I got to learn all about this. I want to work with this. And then I started training, and I did like a year-long program, and I ended up becoming an instructor. So now I can teach and I work with this method. And it was originally kind of created as a coaching method. So it's like to coach yourself, and also we use it as a coaching method. So I've worked with clients where we make a drawing. So instead of just talking about your problems or what you want to create and what you change, we draw it and then we look at it, and that brings up more things. But from there, I have personally experienced it as a healing tool. And that has a lot to do with my personal story, of course, and has brought me to a place where, yeah, this art method, I want to say it has changed my life and it has saved my life in several different ways. So the story is that in 2022, I lost my son. I lost my first baby when I was almost 8 months pregnant.
Wow.
And it was, of course, like the most devastating, the hardest experience of my life so far.
Wow.
And I want to say that I almost lost myself, but I had my art and I was holding on to it.
Wow.
And I actually have a series of drawings. Maybe I'm just going to show them while I tell the story, if that's okay.
Okay, yeah.
Can we do that? Yeah. Because the first drawing, I made it in the hospital. So I had an induced birth, which took 3 days. So I had a long time to process it, which in a way, like looking back, I was really thankful for it because it took this time for us to integrate, to even like get over the shock of this is happening right now, to kind of be in this, okay, what are we going to do now? And then before I actually gave birth on the last day in the morning, I made this drawing
Wait, what
where
happened? You have to tell us what happened.
oh yeah, what happened? Well, it was like we only learned afterwards. What happened first was just like he stopped moving, and then we went to the hospital, and he was dead. That was
You
like
were like close to giving birth, right? You were in like your 8th or 9th month or something like that?
I was 31 weeks, so it was almost 8 months.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. He would have made it if he was alive, but yeah, he basically just like randomly died. And what we found out later is that it was like a cord accident, and the doctor said, like literally, the doctor said this was just bad luck. Like that's all there is to it. Like this was a random freak accident where the cord was wrapped around him and kinked to where the cord was disconnected, and there was no more blood flow at some point. Yeah, it was really, and I mean, it took a long, 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 long time for me to even be able to speak about that, of course,
Wow.
and to kind of be able to sit with this story. And
Hmm.
yeah, of course, I mean, I spent months and months replaying that last day or the last days and asking, like, what could have happened, could have done something. So there's like so many layers to the story. And that was like one of the things that I've really, really had to work on for myself, like the guilt and the shame around this kind of like, how can this happen? No,
Hmm.
it's like this unspeakable thing, really. And for me, in the beginning, I had no words. For me, in the beginning, was really like I couldn't like say anything. I couldn't think, I was just like, as I said, I was losing myself. Absolutely. I was like kind of floating away. And yeah, what really helped me kind of come back to me was to bring it out in some way, to be able to express it in some way. And like for me, I've talked to people who said like, yeah, after losing someone, they had so many words. I had no words. I had
Hmm.
absolutely zero words, but I had art. No, art
Wow.
was still there.
Wow.
So yeah, okay. So let me see if I can share my screen, and then we go from there, and I can actually like talk a little bit
I
and
might have
like show
to,
some of the art.
wait, I might have to just give you permission since we started over. Oh no, I think you should be able to.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah,
What is
you should be able
this?
to share. The joys of tech.
All right. Oh, there it is. Okay.
But it is interesting
Okay.
that you didn't have words because not everybody uses words the same. So this is your first, this is the first
This is
drawing
the
you did.
first drawing. Yeah, this is the first artwork. And as I said, it's all very, very abstract. And what I've started with was just drawing lines. I was just like, there was just chaos inside myself. So I put in the chaos here. So I started on this side, on the left side. So this is like my sketchbook. And I just drew lines and lines and lines. And then I realized like I'm somewhere in here and I'm in this experience. So that was kind of like the layers that came. And then what appeared was this line here that went through, and I saw that there's like half a big circle. And in Neurographica, circles always have meaning. And circles are always like this kind of, there is something there. No, the circle always tells me that there is something there. So what helped, like how it really, really helped me in this situation was like, I realized like I'm here, I'm trapped in this kind of situation right now, but there is something beyond that. There is more. There is a future, even though, I'm not there yet and I have no idea how I'm ever gonna get there. I still could see, and for me, that was really like this visual realization. I could see it. So seeing it helped my mind believe it. Seeing it helped my mind open up to the possibility that this was not the end. And that was an opening for me, like just mentally, but also in a way then physically. And that was like, after that, I did give birth and then the story continued. So it really like created this opening where I could see like, okay, the story is going to continue. We don't know what's going to happen after. There is something there. I did is like, I drew it. I just created it. I was like, okay, we're going this way. I don't know what's going to be here. This is why there's no color as well. This is why the green is the only color. And the green for me is kind of like this healing color. This kind of, yeah, tender color of like, there's a new beginning there somewhere. And so for me, that was like this, like it's almost like the picture helped me to move. No, and you can see like the picture has all these kind of moving parts, like it's very fluid. So by looking at it and by like almost like I want to say I project myself into the picture and then I can move. And then it helped my inner self to kind of open up to the possibility that there is a beyond and that we're going to get out of this.
Wow.
And that was really, really, yeah, really, really big for me. And I want to share one more part that we talked about when we first met, which was that the next day after this whole birth experience and saying goodbye to our son and all of this, we sat down, my husband and I, and we literally set an intention that we're going to grow stronger through this. And that's why I wrote that our strength will last longer than our sadness, because the sadness was all that was there at this moment. But I think like whenever you set intentions like this, it like helps you to move towards it. No, like I of course have to acknowledge that right now I'm in this situation, but then once I do that, then I can move and then I can grow stronger. And like for me, it's really this a commitment to growth. No commitment to growth. And as I said in the beginning, no kind of acknowledging my story. Yeah, this is my story and I'm gonna walk this path no matter what. I'm gonna just go for it. Like this is my life, and not wishing that this wasn't my life. No, not like kind of being like, oh, I'm the poor me, like this has happened to me, even though of course, I felt like that. But I think to have this conviction of, and also just this already, my mind was programmed to continuing, to going the path beyond, to kind of crossing this boundary.
Amazing.
And so I just want to share a few pictures that I made after that, yeah. So this is the footprint of my baby, of my son. That is the only thing that we have physically from him.
The
Yeah,
baby
that's the baby that died. Yeah.
Wow.
They made footprints for us, and those were really like a gift for us because it's like you have nothing. It's like a stillbirth is really, that's what it is. It's still, there's nothing there. There's no sound. It's like you leave with nothing. And so for me, first, in the beginning, what I really worked on was kind of acknowledging that this did happen, that he did exist. You know? And I did that with my art. And this one, I don't know if, yeah, it's probably like a thing that a lot of people know. Like when I've read a lot of Buddhist literature when I was younger, and there's like this, before Buddha was ever depicted as like a picture, as a person, he would just have footprints, and they would just show that he was there. And that's like, for me, you know what, I've after that I could write about it. No,
Wow.
after that I wrote that his footprints are on my heart. No, he
Ah,
left these footprints on my
wow.
heart. So
Wow.
for me,
Yeah.
having the art helped me to find the words,
Yeah.
helped me to kind of create the story around this, helped me to, yeah, kind of understand the story too, and see like, where can I go from this? You know, what can I take from this? What is the I don't want to say gift, but the lesson in it? No, what is it that I still like? Yeah, because as I said, you know, I wanted there to be a why,
Mhm.
or like not really a reason, but you know, I wanted to kind of understand, like, why would my soul like throw me into this kind of story? You know, coming back to your beginning question, it's like,
Yeah.
why would my soul choose something like that? Why did my soul have this soul contract with this little person for him to come into our life in this way? And that
Yeah.
is like something that I feel took a long time for me, the
Mhm.
meaning making. And especially in loss, I feel that meaning making is a whole different story
Mhm.
than, you know, understanding why good things happen, understanding for yourself why bad things happen. And I just want to share this to people that, you know, kind of want to help others, maybe, or something like this. I had a woman reach out to me that I didn't know. So it was like a random stranger literally on Facebook that reached out to me, and she sent me a message, and the message said everything happened for a reason. And in that moment, this was the most hurtful thing that anybody has ever said to me. Because if you just lost someone, nobody can tell you this happened for a reason. Nobody can give you the meaning. You can only find that, and that is a long process. So I actually talked about that. And because I kind of felt that, you know, it's like, of course, my situation brings everyone around me in this kind of helpless uh, situation where they don't know what to do, but it's also not their job to do anything. Like, what I really need in this situation is just to be held, just to be like, okay, you are right and you are here, and if you need something, I'm there, but I'm not going to tell you, you know, the end of your story or the meaning behind it. So yeah, I just wanted to share that because I feel that that is something that makes it so difficult for people to deal with grief,
Yeah.
because we always want to fix it. We always want to
Right.
kind of give the, you know, like, oh yeah, no, but we can't do that.
Right.
Only, and I wrote that too. I said, only I can give this meaning. Only I can at some point come to an understanding that this is there for a reason. And I did. So in the end, I did. But it was my journey there. And then, okay, I'm gonna just skip through the next one. So this is
Okay, good.
um,
Moving on. We had just a
the
little freeze, but now I see we're on to the
dark.
next one.
Oh, okay, yeah, we're on to the next one. Okay,
Okay,
so
good.
this is the next drawing that I made is stars, and in German, in my native language, we call the children that leave before or during birth star children.
Wow.
So I created like this web of children because I kind of felt, you know, that I wanted my son to be not alone. And I realized like he's also not alone, just like I'm not alone, he's not alone. There's like all these children floating up there in the sky and blinking down on us. So it's like a lot of my art was very symbolistic. I don't know, is that a word? Full of symbolism, where it brought like poetry to me. It brought the words to me, as I said. And then this one is something that at some point I started collecting my tears. I had a little jar and I collected my tears. And in the beginning, it's like I just cried all the time. And I was like, this is precious somehow. I want
Wow.
to keep this for someone. I want to do
Mm.
something with it. And then eventually I made this artwork, and all the tears they have, my actual tears in them. So they're like watercolor pencils, and you can activate the watercolor. So I brought in this kind of element of, yeah, honoring, I think, my pain, honoring my story, honoring all the emotions that I had, honoring the feelings. And then this continued into the next art piece. So first, I just had to be with, I just had to acknowledge, like, this is where I'm at. I'm in this painful place and I'm crying every day, and it's just what is. And
Mm.
I felt that that was very helpful for me actually to realize where am I right now, because then from there I can see where do I want to go, where can I go from here. And the picture totally shows it, and I love that about it. So I had like this eye, and it was like all the energy was going down, but then I realized there's still something up there,
Mm.
and what would happen if I looked there. And then the next picture is where I look there, where
Wow.
the tears are still down here, but there's an opening, and there's a kind of new beginning, and there's a sunrise, and there's growth, and there's like, yeah, all these things that can start. So yeah, I feel like almost my art has brought me into understanding just life in general in a whole different way. And of
Mm.
course, like this experience, this close up experience with death has brought me to understand life in a new way.
Mm. Wow, so powerful.
Yeah. And so, oh yeah, and that is the flame. That was just my little my little one. We went to this like I think they have a thing that's nationwide where you light a candle for the babies that died. And
Mm.
so I made art for that. And then like what was one of the biggest steps for me was going back into teaching, because I realized that I couldn't just go back and just continue my classes because I was changed. So I had to bring my experience into my work, and I created a space where I invited people to come with their grief. And I realized now, having done this for 3 years almost, so I continuously, almost every month, have a meeting where we sit with grief and we make a drawing that is looking at, I call it a face of grief, so like a different part of it. And this was the first one where I invited people to just find out, where are you and what do you need, and what are the things that are around you, what are the things that support you. So and can you bring a little bit of color into your world. So
Mm.
there's all like these little kind of pieces, that I feel can really really support people. And for me, sharing that and opening up to it and actually creating space for others was a big part of my own healing journey, because I am a teacher, and I felt that this has to become a part of my teaching. Otherwise, and that gives it meaning again. That is kind of to where I feel that there is a gift in it. There is a silver lining. There is kind of this, okay, I'm taking this out into the world and I'm holding spaces for others, and I can, because I have experienced, I can hold grief,
Wow.
and I have the strength to hold it with others. And in this space, what I actually in the beginning was also just for me to process, and
Mhm.
for me to come back to it. And I came back to it on a regular basis, which I think makes a big impact. So we, for example, just one more example of this, is like we work with all the emotions that come up, and all the mix of emotions and all this confusion, and like you feel anger, but you also feel pain, but you also feel love at the same time, and how can it all exist at the same time? So there's like a lot of things that are really kind of hard to even understand with our mind, but then when we put it in the picture, we can still see it and we can kind of feel it, and we can, yeah, hold it in a different way. So I feel that yeah, that's kind of like my approach of working with it now. And then I want to share two more pictures that are very meaningful. This one is the first one. I did it like this version of it. I started doing it like around a half a year after I lost my child. And underneath this is a photo of me that was taken a week before I lost him. So that's me pregnant with him a week before. And at some point, or relatively quickly, I realized like I'm completely disconnected from my body. I had to reconnect with my body. because there was all this, you know, kind of shame and guilt, and yeah, just like really I couldn't accept it. I couldn't accept that my body would do this to me, you know, that my body would like treat me like this and like destroy my life like this. So there was like a lot of emotion in there. And this picture stayed like this for almost like for a year, actually. I made this and I got so far, and then it kind of stayed like this for a year. And then a year later, I was pregnant with my little girl, with my
Oh,
daughter, and I continued the drawing, and it turned into
oh,
this. And it turned
oh,
into
wow.
this really life affirming and
Wow.
really kind of, yeah, the energy really changed. And it was really beautiful for me to be able to do this in an art piece,
Wow.
to like allow myself to receive again, and to allow myself to feel all this overflowing love and this kind of connection to everything. And yeah,
Amazing. All right,
so
let's see
that,
that
yeah, that's,
picture of your real life baby daughter you have now.
yeah,
So
exactly.
amazing.
Yeah, that's one more picture of when I was pregnant with her, like that I made after I birthed her, and that's me and my little one. So yeah, the story is a story of healing, really, where it took me, of course, a long time to commit to it too. And this is why I created a space where I kind of had to, I kind of pressured myself to go back into my own healing process by opening a space for others, because I wanted to try again. And I knew that I really had to work on myself and work on my healing to be able to, you know, to be able to go into this space again without like having all this heavy emotion like right imprinted on the baby. Well, of course, I didn't want to do that. So yeah, we have a happy little one now. I'm going to stop the share. And yeah, I know that my story has thank you for making space for this.
Amazing. I believe so much in the power of our stories, and it's so exciting to me how you've integrated art with your story. So we have to wrap up, but just tell us a little bit about your free gift so that people can get a taste of the healing power of this art, because it's clearly so unbelievable what's possible if that's what calls somebody.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I made a little guidebook about the neurographica method where you can learn a little bit about like how it works. And it's an ebook, so there's all these different links to my YouTube channel where I have a lot of different drawings. I have a drawing process for the grief, for example, as well, and I have just introductory drawings. And yeah, if you want to work on any change, I'm going to say. It doesn't have to be a big loss. It can also just be a change that you want to, like a life transformation, I'm going to say. No, any kind of transformation always comes with a little bit of grief and a little bit of fear and a little bit of like all these different parts. So if you want to explore that, and if you want to tap into your subconscious, your intuition, trusting yourself more, coming back to yourself more, coming back to really walking your own path in a
Mm.
way and finding your own answers, then yeah, that's an invitation to explore Neurographica.
So wonderful. Anja, thank you so much for sharing your story and for just showing us this path of healing that's so powerful. Grief can be so debilitating, and sometimes it's so hard to find one's way out. So thank you so much. Get her free gift. Try it. If you try something, you want to share it with us in the Facebook group, you're invited to. And Anja, thank you again so much.
Thank you. Yeah. Again, thank you for holding the space for this story.
Right. And it's a model for everybody to feel how valuable your story is. That really, just like you said in the beginning, in some ways, saying yes to your soul is saying yes to your story. I'll have to steal your line. Such a good line. Thank you so much. And as I always say in farewell, everybody remember to go out in the world and share your story, live your purpose, and be a blessing. Bye, folks.